Thank you. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I addressed on behalf of my government this morning an official request to the Secretary General of the United Nations to form, under his own auspices, an impartial, technical mission of experts to investigate the use by the armed terrorist groups in the outskirts of Aleppo of chemical weapons launched from a village called Kafar Da'il on another village called Kafar Asal, Khan al-Asal, sorry. This request was made this morning, meaning hours after some capitals motivated by political agenda tried to accuse the Syrian government of being behind this appalling use of chemical weapons. As you know, we had addressed an official letter on December the 8th to the Secretary General and the President of the Security Council, and I have the document here in my hands. It was December the 8th, 2012, and in this letter, we drew the kind attention of the Secretary General as well as to the members of the Security Council about the possibility of seeing the armed groups and the armed terrorist groups operating in Syria using chemical weapons, either by materials they could assemble themselves or using weapons, chemical weapons provided to them by a third party. And then to accuse the Syrian government of being behind this kind of plot. Let me read out what we said in this letter, only one paragraph. We are genuinely worried that certain states that support terrorism and terrorists could provide the armed terrorist groups with chemical weapons and then claim they had been used by the Syrian government. The Turkish newspaper Yurt has reported that Al-Qaeda members are producing chemical weapons in a laboratory near the Turkish city of Ghazi Intab that they are threatening to use against Syrian civilians. And I guess you all saw this YouTube about experiencing the chemical weapons on rabbits. And this ugly experience was done within the Turkish territory. Yurt, the Turkish newspaper Yurt, has drawn attention to videos posted on the internet demonstrating how to make poison gas from such chemicals as Al-Qaeda has obtained from Turkish companies and tested on living creatures. It would be more appropriate for the states leading the campaign against Syria to monitor those actions and prosecute the terrorist perpetrators and the parties that facilitated their access to chemicals. This letter is dated December the 8th, 2012, and it is available on the United Nations network. Let me add to this that a prominent site called the Western Center for Journalism has revealed today very alarming information going in the same way about the Qatari authorities sponsoring a terrorist act of using chemical weapons against within the Syrian territory in order to accuse the government of doing so, and then try to bring an international intervention into the Syrian domestic affairs. After, of course, accusing the government of using chemical weapons. Please go back to this site, the Western Center for Journalism, and you can see all the details. They were, the Qataris are bribing some actors to act as Russian experts working for the Syrian government, and Croatian and Ukrainians. And they are showing in the YouTube a missile that they are pretending to that it is possessed by the Syrian army. Another issue which is directly related to this one is that we never stopped alarming the Council and the Secretary General about all these shipments of weapons coming from Libya, some of them through Lebanon and the other through Turkey, and delivered with all kind of logistical facilities to the armed groups and the terrorist groups in Syria, including Al-Qaeda elements. Now back to the political background. You know that the meeting of the Security Council this afternoon was allocated to Central Africa, but the French delegation found it very suitable to fish in the murky water, as we say, and to bring about the Syrian issue once again while they were discussing the situation in Central Africa. Why they are doing that? It is very simple, because they were taken by surprise by the Syrian request to the Secretary General this morning to form a committee of impartial technical committee of investigation, of experts to investigate the use by the armed terrorist groups in Aleppo of chemical weapons. So this did not please, of course, to their agendas, because as you know, France and Britain called publicly to arm the Syrian opposition with both lethal weapons as well as financial assistance. Plus, of course, they need to cover them up through the media and politically speaking. And this is what they did this afternoon. However, the main point is that there is a Syrian official request addressed to the Secretary General to investigate, to form an impartial technical experts group to investigate. This request should be answered by the Secretary General after, of course, making consultations with the members of the Security Council. And then he will have to act. If the Syrian government didn't ask didn't ask the Secretary General to act, we would have maybe thought and given some credit to the French initiative. But the fact is that we did it this morning, and if there were any good intentions on the part of the French delegation, they should have supported the Syrian request and encouraged the Secretary General to go ahead with this idea as soon as possible in order to reveal the real identity of the perpetrators. Yes.
Does Syria your government have an objection to expanding this investigation to include a second allegation by the Syrian opposition of another chemical attack in Damascus yesterday, and if so, why?
I am not aware of the existence of a second attack or use of chemical weapons within the Syrian territory. I think this was set up. I mean, this allegation regarding the second incident where chemical weapons were used allegedly. These allegations was set up on purpose to torpedo the investigation on the real use of chemical weapons which took place in Aleppo yesterday. So any attempt by any member of the Council to delay, as the Russian ambassador say, or to torpedo the Syrian request to the Secretary General, or to prevent the Council from acting collectively in order to support the Secretary General efforts to fulfill and answer positively to the Syrian request, all that would have only one ultimate goal, which is not helping the Secretary General to fulfill his task, answering positively the Syrian government's official request. So those who are trying by any means to torpedo the Syrian government's official request within the Council will play only in the court of the terrorist groups.
Ambassador, how do you expect the UN to be able to investigate such allegations when they already had personnel on the ground in Syria and had to leave because it was so dangerous there?
Who left?
Early on, there was a UN group in Syria trying to organize a ceasefire there and monitoring the fighting there. How can you possibly get an investigative team in, a UN team into the country when there's a war going on?
Your conclusion is rather very hasty one. The Arab observers, the Arab League observers, when they were working in Syria and produced their report, as you remember, a report that was not brought to the attention of the Council by the Qatari Prime Minister and the Secretary General of the Arab League, if you may remember all these details. The report of the Arab observers did not please to those who are supporting the armed groups. So the mission of the Arab League, observers was ended by the Arab League, not by the Syrian government. This is number one. Kofi Annan's mission, according to what he said himself here under the roof of the United Nations a couple months ago when he signed his book, he said that he couldn't accomplish his mission because of political pressures by influential members in the Council, as well as by Qatar and Turkey, on him. He didn't say because of the Syrian government's pressure on him. So his mission was ended again by political pressures from outside of Syria, not by the Syrian government. Al-Ibrahimi is facing the same challenge right now. So the United Nations, through the Syrian government, can and could and should fulfill this investigation as long as the issue is done through the provisions of the Charter and upon the request of the Syrian government.
ربما أجبت عنه بالإنجليزي. لماذا أو ما المانع لديكم من أن تحقق الأمم المتحدة في الحادثين المذكورين في حلب وفي دمشق؟
لا يوجد حادث ثاني. الحادث الثاني تم اختراعه للتشويش على العملية الجبانة الإجرامية التي تم استخدام فيها السلاح الكيماوي بالأمس في حلب. نحن كحكومة سورية ليس لدينا علم باستخدام السلاح الكيماوي في مكان آخر. اختراع هذا الحادث يشير بالضرورة إلى أن من قام بالعمل الأول أمس في حلب يفكر بارتكاب عمل ثاني في مكان آخر في سوريا، والقصد منه طبعا كما تعرف هو التشويش على الطلب الرسمي السوري الذي قدمناه إلى الأمين العام، وأيضا إضعاف مرجعية وثيقة جنيف للحل السياسي السلمي بين السوريين وبقيادة سورية. أضف إلى ذلك أنه ليس من الصدفة أن كل هذا الحراك العدائي الإرهابي الذي يجري إنما يتم في ظل زيارة الرئيس أوباما إلى المنطقة. هناك من يريد كما قالت بعض العواصم وكما قال بعض السفراء الغربيين أمس في مجلس الأمن، هناك من يريد تغيير قواعد اللعبة، وهم يعنون بذلك تغيير قواعد اللعبة، يعنون بذلك استنباط آليات جديدة لاستحضار التدخل العسكري في سوريا عبر أدوات جديدة مثل الاتهامات باستخدام السلاح الكيماوي الموجه للحكومة السورية. هذه كلها أمور يجب أن ننظر إليها بشكل شمولي، وتفسيرها الوحيد هو أن هناك من أحبط من الطلب الرسمي الحكومي السوري بالطلب من الأمين العام إرسال بعثة تحقيق من الخبراء الفنيين الحياديين، أحبطوا بسبب هذا الأمر وفوجئوا به، ولذلك هم يريدون العودة مجددا، إعادة عقارب الساعة مجددا إلى الوراء، والحديث عن تغيير قواعد اللعبة. هذا هو البيت القصيد.
هل تضمنون وصول وفد الأمم المتحدة في حال تشكيله إلى المواقع التي أصيبت بالقصف الذي تحدثت عنه بالسلاح الكيماوي؟ وهل تضمنون أن هؤلاء الخبراء يمكن أن يتنقلوا ويصلوا إلى هذه المناطق؟
بالطبع الحكومة السورية ملتزمة بذلك، وهناك آليات للتفاهم والتعاون يتم التوقيع عليها والتفاهم بشأنها بين الحكومة السورية والأمانة العامة. قمنا بنفس الشيء مع وفد المساعدات الإنسانية من أوتشا، واستطاعوا أن يصلوا إلى الحدود التركية. يعني هذه مسألة نظرية ليست قابلة للمناقشة، وإنما محسوم أمرها بطبيعة الحال طالما أنها تجري بموجب مذكر التفاهم مع الحكومة السورية، وفي منطقة محددة هي المنطقة التي جرى فيها العدوان بالسلاح الكيماوي على المدنيين والعسكريين.